That would make them a total of 2 weeks early, so let's check it out. Oh, damn!
What's going on? I'm JT Franco, and this is Hustle and Muscle Streetwear Startup Edition, where I try to side hustle my way to $1 million. So far, we're about 6 weeks into this clothing brand, and we've made a total of $0. But that's okay because this is a huge week, so let's get to it. Last week ended off with me sending my tech packs to my suppliers to get the final quotes, and now the quotes are in. So here are all the quotes that my sourcing agent has gathered. As you can see, we have 23 total suppliers to work with. So let's jump into the computer actually and go through this. So I'm gonna spend the next little bit here going down this list one by one through every single supplier and narrowing it down to the list that I want to shortlist for production. Now the things I'm looking for obviously are the production costs, the bulk production costs. Then I'm gonna go into their websites. I'm gonna see how long they've been in business. Like here it says 2 years, and I'm going to go through all their other products. And then lastly, I'm gonna make sure that they can do the right type of printing for my shirt and make sure they have screen printing and digital printing, and they're not doing heat press or anything like that. So let's get to it. One by one, I went through every single supplier on that list and looked at their quotes. And then I narrowed it down to my top 3 suppliers. So my short list of 3 suppliers has just become 2. I cut one of them, and it's something that's very important that I think a lot of you should consider when you're looking at sourcing supplies or anything from China. And that's communication. So compared to the other suppliers who sent me full quotes like this one here, Erin, she's very, very limited with her responses and her replies. So it's just something I'm not interested in dealing with. Probably my biggest red flag when it comes to sourcing any products. So now that my suppliers were selected and my designs were done, I went ahead and ended the contract with my designer, and I ended up paying him $475, and that is one of my biggest expenses so far. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you all the expenses that I've paid out so you guys can get an idea of how much it's cost me up to this point to get my clothing brand off the ground. But first, putting out another fire. This is a little paper I've been keeping with all my final design sizes. Obviously it's blurred out for you guys, but here's my hat. Now the problem is this text and even this design is too small to place on the hat. And of course I just ended the contract with my designer and he just went on vacation. So I'm gonna have to do this by myself. I don't know how to use Adobe Illustrator, but I know Photoshop, so I'm gonna try my best and see what I can do. It was an elementary level attempt to redo the design, but I did the job good enough that the manufacturer could use it. So now that all the designs were finally done, I ran into the biggest problem yet. Figuring out the fabric and the cut of the shirts. Now the heart of any clothing brand is the fabric and how it fits. So I know this is something that I needed to get right. So here's what I did. Of all things, guys, this has been so difficult because as much as pictures, as many pictures and many videos they send, it's so hard to tell the material through the image. And not just that, but the fit, the way it fits on an actual person. And these suppliers, they have catalogs of 500 plus different shirts, different types, different GSM, right, quality types. So it's been an impossible back and forth. So instead of ordering just one to pick for my sample, I asked them to send me one of each. These are all 200 GSM with different finishes. And after doing a lot of research, I figured that 200 GSM is probably a good weight. So I'm ordering one customized sample and the rest of them as just blank t-shirts in 2 different sizes, which of course brings my sample cost up a bit, but I think it's worth it to get a tangible feel for all of these different types. All right, guys, a big moment. One small click for us, one huge leap for the brand. Time to pay for our samples. Let's go. Boom, there it is. So now we're just a few weeks away from having real, tangible clothes in hand with our designs on them that I can test, wear, take photos of. So this is a huge step for the brand. Also, I went ahead and ordered samples for the poly bags, which I'm gonna use to send products out when people order them. So I was in the middle of editing this video and I got an email from Sticker Mule saying that the poly bags actually arrived.
That would make them a total of 2 weeks early, so let's check it out. Oh, damn. Let's go. So here we go, our first actual official samples for the business, the poly bags. These are gonna be the bags that are sent out when someone orders the product. And they look like, hey, look at that, free sticker. Oh, shit. So we're gonna test it out on one of my sweaters. There it is. So, might need a little bigger ones for sweaters, but it fits. I don't know if you can see my face, but it looks sick. So now let's dive into the cost so you guys can see exactly how much I've spent to get to the sampling phase. All right, guys, so here it is, pretty simple. Total expenses, this is Canadian dollars, was $1,700 so far spent, and all of that basically was on designs. You can see
June 10th is when we started, so we're basically 7 weeks in now, almost 7 weeks. And all of this right here is design. So total of $1,200 was spent on just the designing, which 340 of that was on a bunk design that I'm not even gonna use, which comes with the territory. Then 138 I spent so far for my sourcing agent, who is doing all the, talking to the suppliers, and I'm paying him $15 an hour. And then my first charge for Shopify came out, which I haven't even touched yet, but I signed up. And then that's the order we just placed for the one sample. And there's another supplier still, supplier number 2, that has to send me the quote, and then I'm gonna pay that probably tonight. All right, so I was already literally in bed, but I got my sample order quote here from supplier number 2, so we're gonna go ahead and make that payment. Boom, both samples have been ordered. That's $600 in now. So far $700, which is about $1,300 US, which honestly I'm very pleased with so far. Remember, the whole budget for this project is $20,000, which I got from selling my couch flipping hustle. So we're well under budget and we're making decent time, and we've made a huge step today in ordering that sample. Now, for those of you that watched the other episodes of this series, you probably noticed that this episode is a little bit different. I want to get a little bit more analytical, get a little bit more behind the scenes and the thought process, as opposed to being just a straight vlog of me doing something. So if you kind of enjoyed this episode or you enjoyed the other ones, let me know, and I can go in one direction or the other. And of course, if you want to follow this journey on a daily basis, make sure to follow me on TikTok or Instagram at JTFranco. I'll see you next week for more Hustle and Muscle Streetwear Startup Edition. 4 months ago, I invested $900 to buy this truck. Today, we've made $47,000 in sales. Here's how. I went to Craigslist and looked for free couches. Then I snagged them, put them in my garage, and resold them. 30 days in, we had $8,000. Then I started selling sectionals for $700 and $800. And by day 60, we were at $18,000 in sales. That's